Chappelle is a football writer. She was at the final in Rabat and was at the chaotic press conference thereafter. She joins the news live at this time. Swore, you were visibly provoked at the press conference. Tell us what triggered your emotions.
Great to see you, Promise. Last time we saw was in Casablanca when we were celebrating the bronze of the Super Eagles, the bronze final, and congratulations to us all Nigerians. What a time to be alive. What a time to be alive, because, I mean, we had a final that was beautiful on the pitch for the most part in the first half. And then the drama of Telemundo started playing out. You know, it had been a build-up of journalists that we expect to be of a certain professional behavior, while the world was watching and witnessing what was going on the pitch of play, from the fans' end to the stewards, the towels and whatnot. On the journalists' end, we were witnessing things that we have never experienced. At least I can speak for myself. For over a decade of covering multiple sports on multiple continents. You were witnessing Moroccan journalists, some of them spitting on other journalists, especially when they noticed that you were Black or melanated. They were engaging in fisticuffs while the game was going on. It was terrible to feel like you don't even have the right to express your excitement as the game was going on. And it was not just that. It was a build-up of different actions and inactions. And that's why when you look upon people like FIFA and CAF and they start throwing out sanctions and whatnot, you ask the questions, and the hard questions will be, why would you let certain behaviors, especially from the host, stand? We've been in spaces where if you act in certain ways, they remove you immediately. The outburst that you see there came out from the fact that the Senegalese coach, Petition, he came into the press conference with his daughter and was giving his worthy applause from his end. The Senegalese journalists who were ready to applaud the doings of a coach that had been an assistant to Aliou Cissé a couple of seasons ago when they won it, and in 3 editions had managed to get another trophy historically for their country. Now, no matter what you felt on both sides of the divide, when we are journalists, we are professionals and we are supposed to act in a certain way. But that action was not seen, especially from a lot of our Moroccan journalists. They decided to act like political thugs. They decided to echo at the man and boo. There was no humanity. They didn't care that there was a young girl that was witnessing her father do things for our country and our continent. It didn't matter. All that mattered was just desperation and despicable behavior that should never be associated to this part of our profession. I raised my voice there because the CAF officials had said, in a space that is the biggest and best space when it comes to sports and football, the best football stadium in the world currently, as far as I'm concerned, a place that you can't just get in easily. It's well secured, whether it's electronically or physically. They stood there and told us that they could not secure the security of the AFCON winning coach simply because they didn't want to upset the host journalists by expunging them out of the conference room. It is not by force to be at the post-match presser, but when you are there, you're supposed to act in a certain decorum or follow certain rules of ethics. It was lacking. It was that lacking that if you were melanated, you had to be explaining to other journalists from the Moroccan end that je suis Nigerian, je suis Burkinabe, and whatnot. Nobody should experience that. I had friends and people who came from states like Delta, where I'm rooted from, that were stuck in their hotels. They couldn't come outside to finish the games they were watching because as soon as the Senegalese won, suddenly everywhere
hostility began.
They were chasing people that were melanated. These are not characters that speak to sportsmanship. Now, to the video you saw, they let the coach go. And this was what they wanted. They didn't want an organization, an organized flow of a tournament that could celebrate a ceremony that they were not the ones that were winners. That's not how it works. Even if you are not the winner, you must interview the person When it happened with Nigeria, we had the grace to be interviewed, whether it was in Ivory Coast, whether it was in Cameroon, whether it was in the 80s, whether it was in the 1994s and whatnot. Even as crazy as they said the Tunisia ones were, even as crazy as the one of them Sunday Mba, you didn't have that experience promise from, or you didn't hear of tales from journalists that attended those pressers. You didn't get those kind of conversations from them. You didn't get those kind of conversations from them. So it's unheard of that in 2026, we'll have these kind of situations pop out, and it's us, journalists, that are leading the line in violence
from your
and
submission.
Racism. And that pissed me off. I don't know if I can use that word.
From your submission, it was, I mean, it is very clear.
They're speaking in things that you don't understand.
Yes.
That's what you see there.
From your submission, it is clear that the Moroccan journalists, I mean, brought journalism into disrepute, I mean, by their actions on that day. Let me just ask you this before I let you go, Swore. Now, Morocco wants CAF to strip Senegal of the 2025 AFCON title. How much sense does this make?
That they are standing by the rules of law and engagement, because if you still follow the rules of the CAF, if a team walks out of a game, according to what sports law experts from Switzerland have been able to impose or at least enlighten us on, if you walk out of a game and you walk back, the game is not forfeited. What you get is sanctions, just like what happened with Cristiano Ronaldo back in 2022 when he walked out of a live game, and then he was fined $50,000, and the team he got a 2-match suspension. And it's the audacity for me, because when you beat a child and the child starts to cry, you cannot tell the child not to cry. A lot of the things that built up to that moment when the perpetrator team decided to step out of the pitch, it was a build up of triggers. Promise. When we started the final for a CAF event that was watched globally, it was Eric Sekuchele's face and picture that was put in the big velodrome or big screen as the coach of Senegal. You have observed CAF. We have all observed tournaments. They do dress rehearsals at least 3 to 4 times, hours before, in the build-up to the tournament. They did certain things that, honestly speaking, were just triggers to trigger the Senegalese. It was a low blow. It was a build-up. Like I said, you cannot beat a baby and tell the baby not to cry. I will support the Senegalese in stepping out of the pitch anytime, again and again, because I feel like on that global stage, it was the only statement they could make.
Absolutely.
To say no. Enough is enough. And honestly, enough is enough.
It was clear and glaring that there were certain, theatrics from the Moroccans in a desperate move to emerge champions of the AFCON. But it is what it is. Senegal are champions of the continent. That will be a wrap on Sport Wrap at this time.